Hi everybody, it's Monday the 13th and I just wanted to commit a few thoughts to the collective. Let me start with this might be easier. How beautiful that is. So I'm noticing 4 or 5 people, myself included, who are suddenly having this clear out, like in the physical, a clear out in the physical. So if I ponder that in the collective, then this little wave of excitement comes in and a question of, what are we making space for here? And I'm being shown something that looks like an egg on its side, so elliptical that way. And it's kind of furry on the outside. And there's this void in the middle. And it's just, and the words are just getting ready. It's just like getting ready. It's just getting ready. And so the reason I wanted to record today is because somebody has brought a crystal into my radar, into my field. And this crystal has created this, oh wow, moment, and it's relevant to the collective. So I'm going to share. So quick catch up. Since I last recorded, I don't know if anybody is tracking the energy waves that are coming in, but they're pretty spectacular. I've counted 2 or 3 fantastically Venusian, powerful waves of love just coming in, and just stunning, absolutely stunning. So I've kind of ridden the wave and used them to do personal healing, to clear personal fields. And it's very, very supportive, loving energy. And then there was this other energy where I was queuing up for a monumental shop visit. Oh my God. We've redefined the queue, haven't we? And this wave of energy hit me and pulled me straight out of my crown chakra. I nearly fell over, just standing in this queue, and I nearly fell over. So there's stuff going on. I don't know what it is, but it felt other. It felt other. And so that's kind of changed now, but I want to bring that in because I'm inviting that in as a holding space for what I'm going to bring today, which is a kind of, it's a flux is the word I'm getting. It's a field that feels in flux. So you remember on the last, I think it was on the last video, I said Playtime's going to come soon. I think Playtime's coming, but there's a but. Because the but is, how can we play without getting stuck in the past? So I've got that kind of insanity, that definition of insanity that kicks around. It's when we do the same thing again and again and again and we expect a different outcome. And that, I feel, is being challenged in the system because we're building something new here. So if what we're putting into the system isn't new, then we're not building the new. And so I'm going to cut to the chase because the thing that was put on my radar is what I now believe is dioptase. And this is a beautiful crystal given to me by a friend 100 years ago that I never quite captured the name of. I work with it because it's such a stunning energy, and it loves water. It loves the water element. And the word that was given to me today was dioptase. I believe this to be dioptase in its raw state. And so dioptase comes in, and I do my research. And I'm not really a girl that kind of looks at, you know, healing properties of dioptase. But this link came up because I was looking at the pictures, and I clicked on the link, and the words that came out of it were like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I've done a little kind of mind map of the words that are leaping out at me. And we've got, the first thing that came out of me was healing the inner child. And it's the inner child that's getting stuck in the shoulda, woulda, coulda, in the, you know, that thing kids do where they kind of look to the parents for approval or disapproval. So they're kind of testing their world by taking this and breaking it, because I want to know what happens if I break this. But they're kind of looking for that approval, disapproval. It's that stuckness, it's that moment. So this stone is good for inner child work. And I know when I hold it, it links into higher heart, which is kind of where that's where I would imagine my innocence to be. That's what I feel in that higher chakra is my innocence and my purity. It's a much higher vibration than the heart. And so I've kind of mapped from healing the inner child, karma. And the karma is where is stuff that's unresolved from the past. And that might look like being caught in a paradigm that wants us to be something. It's social conditioning, it's acceptance under someone else's regime. It isn't joy. It isn't joyful. It's shoulda, woulda, coulda. And abundance. Where where is the abundance? Because, you know, we live in the West. Well, we could live in the East and still be in abundance, but abundance comes in many, many different forms. I'm surrounded by people who love me. Is that not abundance? I can feed myself. Well, that's abundance. When I reach out for help, someone's there, and that's abundance. If no one's there, I have the inner resource to be loving with myself. That's abundance. So how many ways do we acknowledge abundance in our life? Not in a kind of, you know, left brain, logical, rational, I'm going to make a list of all the things that are abundant in my life. You know, that's very masculine paradigm. That's very, that can't apply. Abundance is a feeling, and it's a feeling that engenders safety, security. And it's kind of reliant upon being able to receive. Okay, being able to receive. How do we receive? If a kindness is given to us, do we receive it emotionally? Or do we nod and say thank you logically? Because we're polite. And we're building the new here. So from abundance, we jump to compassion and forgiveness, and that jumps straight into the guilt and shame of a half-lived life. I was driving home the other day, and I drove past the cemetery, and I always kind of do this little wave to lost loved one. And I said to my father-in-law, my late father-in-law, who I cared for very deeply, I said to him, what would you make of this? And this very old-fashioned traditional voice came back that felt like, I didn't hear any clear words, but it felt like, well, what a kerfuffle. Well, what a kerfuffle this is. How are we going to get out of this? And it made me sad, And I moved into the sadness, and then I heard myself say aloud, oh God, what have we done? And I just allowed the tears to flow. It made me very, very emotional to acknowledge my culpability in the creation of this monster in the world that sucks and feeds, doesn't give, just sucks and feeds. And my solar plexus knows that to be true. And so what I'm seeing is I can't justify playtime because I'm getting stuck in the why of it. I'm getting stuck in the productivity of it, the value of it, the importance of it, the relevance of it. And playtime's like, you're killing me. Playtime is playtime. It's just playtime. Watch a child play. It's totally meaningless. It's meaningless joy. It's meaningless joy. You know, how do you find meaningless joy? I spoke to somebody last week who's discovered the joy of watching someone cook in their joy in the kitchen, glass of wine, bit of music, cooking food, and it made them feel guilty because they weren't doing. Meaningless. Joy is meaningless. It's just another energy. So observe the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Observe the must, duty, need to. Observe that. Observe all the things you might put in the way of meaningless joy. It's like, I'm ready to play. And so how does the child come out and play? Can the child come and play guilt-free, please? Is that possible? Is that possible? And a question for myself, really, and for on behalf of the collective. How can we build the new if we're entrenched in the past? And the culpability of that is the part of me that allowed that to happen. And I'm deliberately specifying that because victim is in the field. Victim and martyr are in the field in a big way. You've only got to look at Facebook. And that's fine. That's a level on the fractal of work being done. And another level might be, well, if I'm building the new, then how can I transcend my inner victim martyr that feels this has been done to me? Nothing has been done to me that I haven't given permission for, that I haven't acquiesced to in some way. The acquiescence is in doing the right thing, or in my perception of doing the right thing. And what that can end up looking like is doing something that actually my heart doesn't want to do, that actually my soul doesn't want to do. It's not serving my growth. It's not serving my experience in this lifetime. And so what is serving my experience in this lifetime? Well, I can't speak for you, but for me it's finding joy. It's finding joy as we transition into a phase of change that is going to tip the balance. And I think this next phase that's coming forward is the suppressed child, which is in most of us. Anybody that's been to school. And that suppression is held. It's held in our system. It's held in our DNA. So the first thing to show up when we seek meaningless joy is shame and guilt. Shame and guilt. Religion teaches us that we're basically sinners. Certain religions do. And it teaches us that through the weights and measures act of good and bad, right and wrong, dark and light. Dark and light is the same. It's just energy. Depends where you're meeting it on that pole called dark and light. Good and bad is the same. It's a choice. It's on the same pole. Where's the balance point? How do we harmonize all these poles within us? It's all just an experience. Let's experience. What has my soul come here to experience? So what do we do with this karma that's now being released? And this apparently is a very good stone for helping release that attachment to the old. Because there's a certain security in how we attach to the past. If a child's only way of getting attention is to seek toxic attention, it will do it because it needs to get through that day. It needs to get through the day. So a child's tolerance for toxicity is quite high. It's quite high. So I've seen, I think it was the second video where those two skull cards fell out and they were the void and the mirror. Do you remember? And the void, that space within us where nothing exists, and the mirror is, dare we look into that? Can we look into that? Can we look into nothing, which is actually everything, and both are true? Can we look into the field of all probability and let that scare us to death? Because that shatters everything, doesn't it? If I'm looking straight into the field of all possibility, that means I'm capable of anything. Holy shit. If I'm capable of anything, how do I ratify within me the part that's small, that thinks she's limited? Can you feel that? What if you're already magnificent? What if you're here because you are the way forward? What if you're here because you are the new blueprint? What if 7.6 billion of us all hold a part of the new blueprint? My guide told me the other day to remind a client of their journey, of where they were, by saying to them, have you forgotten that you're a founding member of this new world? Have we forgotten that we could be founding members of this new world? Now that's a kind of responsibility I can get on board with. That's a willing responsibility and a willful responsibility. So I guess moving forwards, tune in to your body. In particular, I would guide you towards the solar plexus, that center of will and joy. And where the will has been suppressed, then the solar plexus is going to tell you, look at me, look at me. And the will has been suppressed. And I think when we really get a handle on how much our will has been suppressed, and the will of the will of our spirit, our spiritual will, when we really get a handle on how much that's been suppressed, we're going to feel some kind of way about that. There could be sadness with that. And I just keep going back to those words. It's the sadness of a half-lived life. For now. For now. So where you hear yourself justifying your actions and your choices, notice that. Where you find a moment of joy and you're in that lovely glee state and reason and justification creep into the room, notice that. Notice that. Be defiant. Peaceful defiance. Peaceful defiance. It's a lot of energy today. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Or my little child does. So, okay, I think I said all I need to say. Let's see if this a guidance card. A couple of guidance cards. Oh, brilliant. Yes. My shoulders hurt because I need to expand. So how do I expand? Well, I tune in, I go in, and I feel into the edges of my energy. Do you remember the Ready Brek kid? Do you remember the glow? And you can do it. If you warm up your palm chakras and just tune in, just cut the visual out, shut your eyes and just tune in and find out which hand gives you the most information. You can feel where your third eye is, and you can feel where your heart is, and you can feel where your energy field is. So if you feel squished in, then what you need to do is, using the mind, is just push your energetic field out. Go up to the cosmos if you want, but stay grounded. So just moving that energy field out. Give yourself room to breathe. Expansion. People say to me quite often, I don't know how to tune into my guides. How do you know you've got guides? Well, because I can feel them. And you're tuned in. So that's thoughts getting in the way of sensory perception. And the thoughts come from the old paradigm of, I need to understand this, I need to define it. But was I ever taught to infine it? What if it's infinite? What if it's just way too big for me to understand? What if it's so high up the fractal I can't even translate it to bring it down? What if, what if, what if? So those old thoughts are designed to define. Stop thinking about it. If you sense that you're tuned in to a something, the inner voice, let's call it, the inner voice, the inner guide, then practice is what does it. Practice. Forget the agenda or what you want to achieve. Practice. Because tuning in, and we're in lockdown, so there's no shortage of time or space here. And the gateway into self is the gateway into the cosmos. You are the universe. You are the universe. Walking through that gateway, that's change. That's big change. Mhm. Oh, you are so worth it. Look at what she's built for herself. Look how beautiful that is. Look at how you nurture yourself. Does it look like this? Are you worthy of this? Does this look like abundance? Does it look like love? Mystery? And there's going to be self-worth issues coming up here. There's going to be. But it's a choice, isn't it? It's a choice of where you move to. Let's imagine that's a pole with self-worth intact and self-worth needing some love. It's where you want to go on that, to cultivate this the feeling of abundance, of feeling held and supported and loved. Mm. I very often say to clients, when they're telling me about difficult situations, I very often say, where's the love? Where's the love in this? Because very often what we're describing when we talk about difficult situations is relationships, is our partners or our kids, people we care for, because that's the stuff that really bothers us, is when it pulls those emotional triggers. But where's the love? Where's the love? Because when we get busy trying to find the love, it's within, by the way, trying to find the love, then the mind can rest. The mind doesn't need any part of that. Go in, you'll find it. You'll find it. Oh, just seen the card on the bottom of the deck. Can we bring our vulnerability to relationships, or must we win that point? In our relationships, are we coming from a place of strength? and the strength in vulnerability. Where are we coming from? Is it love? Where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where's the abundance and the joy and the meaninglessness of life? Because it all got a bit serious back there a little bit. So I'm going to leave you there. And I'll be back soon. I love your comments, by the way. I love to receive your comments. I particularly love questions. So yeah, feel free to communicate in whatever way. And if anybody wants to do one of these sessions with me where, you know, you're feeling it too, or you're not feeling it at all, or whatever, I don't care. I can talk about eggs, I don't care. Come and play with me online. Come and play. It'd be great fun. So, with love for all that we're going through as a collective, we rock. We rock. Yeah. Stay safe. Take care. Lots of love. Until next time. Bye-bye.